Here's a news flash for you. Mel doesn't need my help.
I absolutely adore Doc. He's brilliant, he's clever, he cracks me up every time he speaks. He's charming, and I swear to God, if you are gonna scorn like a Scotsman.
Have you seen any of her videos? Or is this just a thing that you're trying to do this divide and conquer, that Mel needs my help because I have testicles for some reason?
Hey guys,
Hey guys.
what's up?
Welcome back, all you lovely darlings. Well, the five people that are watching us right now.
I think there's like some massive, big, super terribly important debate happening somewhere else on the YouTubes, and so some people are like, I must go watch that. You know?
Yeah, I wonder if it's about one. I wonder if it's about one douchebag winning nothing from another douchebag. In the latest case of douchebag theater. Hey, great! I've got an IOU from an unemployed ex-con. Yay! I'm a winner! Woohoo! Good for Steve. Good for Steve. I'm really happy for him. I really am. I really am. And he's not going to bitch about it for the next 10 years when he gets dick all, right? That won't happen. I guess we'll all find out.
Maybe. You know, it's been an interesting journey for that lot. But hey,
you know what, Mel?
Yeah.
I mean, in the fullest sense of the word, victory is still a victory. So,
this is true.
Excellent. Good result. Justice is done.
That's right.
Right.
Justice is done.
Moving on to other douchebags.
Flat earthers. Oh my Lord. Here we are. We have, okay, so just so we know, we're streaming on lots of different platforms. We stream on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, and DLive. DLive is new,
God.
so
I feel totally violated by a number of corporations, but thanks for the platform, guys. Really appreciate it. It's really nice of you. Although none of it really makes a lot of sense to me because I'm from 1972, exploring the future. And now legitimate scientists are actually talking about warp drive, and I'm like, this is fucking great, man. It's one of the few things that motivates me to live to a ripe, old, and miserable age, just to see the kind of shit that's going to happen in the next 20, 30 years.
Right. Oh God, it is a pretty interesting time all around. We have a couple questions. It's you guys are just gonna have to deal with me and Doc tonight. I know that's just a terribly sad thing. We're not entertaining it all by ourselves.
Yeah, we could do questions from the audience. Would be really, really cool. I've got a question for you, Mel. When we set foot on Mars, right, and start the colonization thing,
right.
Will there still be people on Earth fighting each other to the death over the beads that they have and how they worship? I'm thinking yes. They're going to be murdering each other over eating the wrong kind of chicken. And we'll be like,
possibly. You know, if you ask PETA, PETA would probably be all about murdering people who eat chicken in general. I think they might be fine with that.
Fuck them. And then, well, don't do that, but kill them and fry them, and they're delicious.
Yes, consent is important, at least for, you know, the sexual encounters with animals.
Yeah.
You know, be humane in your killing of things and eating it.
Yeah. Anyone from PETA listening, that was figurative fucking the chicken.
Oh
Nobody
my
should
word.
actually do that. And anyone from PETA listening, also, you can all go fuck yourselves. You two-dimensional morons. Okay.
Oh my goodness. So there's
Who
a
else can
couple
we
of
offend
questions.
tonight? Yeah. Okay.
You know, I think in one particular stream that I'm not certain. It might have been demonetized because I said lots of
No.
different words back to back because words, you know, are
Words.
words
Words hurt.
and
Words hurt, man.
they kind of
I've
do.
got.
Um,
I've got a kind of compliment for young Earthers, but you
okay.
know, true to form, it's a little barbed and dark, right?
Mhm. Right.
I used to think that young Earth creationists were the dumbest people on the planet, but then I met
Okay.
flat Earthers. So it's kind of a compliment. They're not the dumbest people on the planet. They're just
You know,
right next to it. They're flat.
that kind of reminds me of the state of education in the United States. Mississippi is dead last in education.
Yeah, but what does that mean in practical terms?
that means they
Yeah.
score the lowest in everything across the board in every subject and have
Does that
very
mean that
little growth.
like adult literacy is like 12% or something? You know, give me a
Yes.
statistic that I can hang.
Here, well, let me see. I would imagine it's pretty low in general. I still say it in my head: MISSI education
I have no.
statistics. That's how you spell Mississippi.
Great.
Ah,
I know they have a big river. I've seen it once, but I was in Minnesota, so
well, the
adult
Mississippi River
literacy
goes through a
12
lot.
12%.
Probably. Let's see. Here's the thing. I think it's a poverty thing, honestly.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. I'm not judging people here. Far from it.
all right, so here's student achievement.
All right.
Mississippi is in the 50th in national student achievement rankings. In 2013, that's the most recent available data according to this particular website, which
All
is
right. Well,
the Parents Campaign for Research and Education Fund. So that means 21% of Mississippi fourth graders scored proficient or above in reading. 26% scored proficient or above in math on the National Assessment of Educational Progress.
yeah.
So,
Fourth grade, though. You know, I mean, are we
yeah,
churning out adults who are not literate, or are you guys churning out adults who aren't?
you know, yeah. I'm going to blame you, Doc, for everything. It's your fault.
Yeah, I did it
It's your
all.
fault. You did it all.
My,
It's those
my name.
vaccines making people live. Okay, so Mississippi ranks 49th of 50 states in average teacher salary. So 50% of Mississippi teachers leave the profession within the first 5 years of teaching.
Wow.
Yeah. In 2013, they have some early childhood education, but not much. There's a literacy-based promotion act that they passed in 2013. The bill requires screening of all kindergarten through third grade students to identify reading deficiencies. So apparently literacy is a problem that probably, I would assume, translates. Let's see, adult education. Adults. Let me add that here. In Mississippi, here's the education data, statistics and attainment. This comes from towncharts.com. 1% get a doctorate degree, 30% get a high school diploma, 15% have less than a high school education, 5.7% have a master's degree. Well, I assume the 1% that translates across probably almost every single state for the doctorate, but 30% high school GED. and 28.6% of that is female. So I'm wondering if flat earthers live a lot in Mississippi. That's my question.
I don't know. I mean, there are the core few that do their thing and kind of make money of it, but the rest, I suspect, are dullards, or the really, really gullible, or the really, really paranoid, or that particular sweet spot where being a simpleton and paranoid kind of together, where all the conspiracy theories make sense, you know?
Somebody had a question in the chat. Perry Pilot on Periscope. Oh gosh, we love alliteration here. Perry Pilot on Periscope says, how did Mel and Doc join forces? How did we join forces?
Satan. Satan helped us. It involved a crossroads and a blood sacrifice. But that's how most important things happen in my life. It's all about
talk
Satan.
About the blood sacrifice, Doc.
I know, but
shush.
Yeah, hail Satan. No, seriously, we hang out with similar people online, and we're both scientists, and we talk about science things, and that's pretty much it. Nerds of a feather flock together, for it is written.
That's right. That's right. And we have a lot of fun talking about, like when I would swear at the DLS in grad school because I had a 1,000 nanometer peak that was noise every single frickin' time. I couldn't get it to go away for anything.
And I would just fix it because that's why I do. Look, that peak means homeopathy is real. No, it doesn't. Shut the fuck up. No, no.
If homeopathy is effective, here's my question. If homeopathy is effective, why doesn't it work in gas with cars? Why can't I just pump some water into my gas tank that used to touch gasoline and that it had memory of gas molecules, and that would make my car go? Do that, homeopathy people, and put it on YouTube.
That would be a cool
I'm going to go. Yeah, it'd be nice. I'm going to go one step closer to actual homeopathy and the whole kind of deal about dilution. What exactly is Napoleon's piss curing me of? Because statistically, there's a pretty good chance that there's at least one molecule that came through Napoleon's colon or ureter in my medicine. What exactly is that doing, along with the no active ingredient, you bunch of morons? Or take this, it's called placebo. It's very good. Just very, very placebo-y.
Oh my gosh.
Idiot chimps.
It's funny. It's quite interesting. I just kind of navigate through this world going, why, how, and I look at some people and the things that they think, particularly flat earthers, I'm like, how did you come to this very moment where this is where you think the truth is?
I know.
It's like, what happened? And it's just, and then I encounter people who are like going nuts on the internet and just lose their mind. I'm like, where are your friends to tell you that your clothes are on inside out, your butt's hanging out the window, and you smell like cheese? Where are your friends at going, honey, the earth is not flat, it's round. It's an oblate spheroid. Come here. It's like, where are the people who care about these people who are saying these things? And you're like, where's your tribe?
Yeah. Where are the people who will tie you up if you really, really need to be tied up? Not for pleasure, but therapeutically. You need to be. Yeah. Shut the fuck.
It's like, even with Doc here. Okay. When I talk to Doc and I start to go and I'm spiraling into like this state of existential dread, or I'm thinking about things that are not nice, he's like, Mel, honey, come back to us. It's not a good path for you. I at least have some people, and they're just like, come on back. No, that's not right. Here's why. It's just like, where are the people who care about these individuals? They're just letting them hang their butt out of the bus window. And they're just like,
come on, dude. Beyond a certain point, you've just got to let people go. Like the woman who who hoarded her own shit for 25 years in a house, right? You can't do an intervention on that. That's gone too far. You just have to let it go and see where it leads, because it's going to be colorful, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
seriously, she did. She did. It was awesome.
Wow. Oh gosh.
Oh God, yeah. Anything
Ah,
that you're imagining now, it was worse than that. Way worse. So I guess
Like,
flat Earth isn't really.
I have to ask the question: were they stored anaerobically, like in buckets with seals, or were they stored out open air? Because
Well, I mean,
I mean,
oh
beyond a certain point.
either way is going to produce smells. It's just what kind of smells you can envision.
Well,
oh
Bull,
God.
beyond a certain point, it was more or less free range. Um, there was shit in jars and buckets and cups and plates, and it was just everywhere, and
That's
in a moat
disgusting.
around our house. Yeah. So I mean, they let her basically burn the place.
They burned the place down. It sounds
That's
like.
purifying with fire. That's about the only way to
Yeah.
get rid of that smell.
I'm frozen.
Oh my gosh.
Am I frozen?
You, I think you were for a second. Try there. You moved a little.
Shit.
There
I'm
you
moving a
are.
lot.
Okay.
There you go. I caught up with myself. That's great. So
Oh
flat
goodness.
earthers, yeah, I try and approach them from the perspective of, for your worldview to make sense in terms of comparison to reality, how many impossible things do you have to believe? And if the answer is more than zero, usually that means you're not right. Right, Mel? That's
True.
kind of science is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you're just kind of I'm all about Alice in Wonderland, believing a few impossible things every once in a while. Imagination is important for the progression of science, but you don't dwell if something's impossible outright and it defies
Yeah.
everything else we already know.
I love the ad hoc reasoning, though. And I try and keep it basic and big picture, like daytime and nighttime. Tell me how that happens. Well, there's the sun and it's close and it's got the lampshade and the thing. And like, fuck you. These people are ridiculous.
Oh
Small,
my
far
goodness.
away. Small, far away. Small.
That reminds me of Sesame Street. This is what I learned when I was watching Sesame Street growing up with Grover. You know, Grover's the little blue monster who seems like a little bit neurotic and has super high anxiety, I think.
He's
I
not the
guess you could say.
suicidal one that lives in the garbage can, right?
No, that's Oscar the Grouch.
Right. No wonder he's
Oscar,
grouchy. He lives in a garbage can, for God's sake. Give
he
him a
loves
break.
trash. There's a whole song just about how much he loves trash. So
Nah, he's covering up.
it's a coping mechanism to keep people away
God
from
damn
loving
it.
him. That's probably what it
Yeah,
is.
no shit.
He
People
has
will be
to.
like, come here and give me a hug. He's like, I don't like hugging.
I respect him. I do.
But Grover was like very neurotic, and he sometimes he played a superhero, but he would run up and he goes, "This is near," and then you run away. This is far, and then you're like, it's like back and forth. It's like sometimes people need to go back to their roots and watch some Sesame Street to relearn some basic fundamental ideals when it comes to perspective. You know, I don't
That's
know.
perspective, not flirspective. The one that makes the
Yes.
sun appear to descend in the west and rise in the east, because that's how perspective works. Right. Yeah, sure.
You know,
And
and to be
maintain
fair,
a constant angular size throughout the day, despite moving further away from you or towards you, because magic reasons.
you
Oh,
know, and to be fair for poor Oscar, anytime he actually received any kind of like hug or love or kiss, he would blush and he would immediately like run away. It was kind of sweet. He was kind of mean to everybody to a degree. Huh? Bull, I thought you had something to say. sounded like you were saying something. I couldn't hear you.
I think I was shouting from the kitchen.
Oh,
No, I learned a
okay.
lot from Sesame Street, but I'm more of a Muppets guy myself. You know,
Muppets.
the comic theater of the Muppets. I sculpt most of my daily interactions based on that. Seems to be working well.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah, man.
Mana.
Do. No, I consider the Muppets to be a work of genius, and
It really
I think
is.
Henson was one of the least appreciated and greatest philosophers of the 20th century, and he'll be recognized as such in the future.
Yeah. I hate that his disease was completely preventable had he just gotten a frickin' shot. I'm still mad about that. I'm not okay. And I have yet to watch the entire funeral because I can't get through it. I'm just like, it's just too much. It's still too soon and it's been forever. But it's like,
Dude,
you can't do it.
Big Bird sang at the funeral, and I
I
melted.
know. It's not easy being
It
green.
destroyed me. Oh. So there you
Not
go.
easy.
Yeah.
God, I can't do it. See, this is why I love Seth MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane, if you've not seen A Million Ways to Die in the West, I relate so much to that film. It's like, that's where I feel like I live sometimes, you know. It's just he had a whole I think it was on Family Guy where it was just like because of Christian Scientists or something, because he wouldn't go get a simple shot to alleviate the particular disease he was suffering. You know, now we have weird talking Muppets because we don't have Jim Henson anymore. So it's like everything is messed up and wrong.
You know, I just had a bit of a moment of clarity, and I'll share it with the audience because you know I have no life. I was devastated when Jim Henson died, and I remember the
Yes.
time the last Pope died, and I didn't give a shit. So I took time off when Jim Henson died. It's like, oh no, this is awful. Oh,
See, that's
cover
how
the
I am.
mirrors.
I actually went to his town where he grew up. I went to his town where he grew up, and I actually saw the swamp where they filmed part of the original Muppet movie with Kermit sitting out in there, and I was just like, oh my god! I was just like, I needed a
Mel,
moment.
are you saying that you stalked Jim Henson? You went to his home? My
No, I went to
God!
his hometown. He was
All
dead.
right. All right. Post-mortem stalking. All right. That's tourism. That's fine. That's fine.
I think it was Leland, Mississippi. I think is what it was. Leland, Mississippi. He actually came from the south.
Don't dox Jim Henson.
Don't dox Jim Henson.
Can you dox the dead? Can you dox?
You
Oh,
know,
can
you
you
probably
dox the
can't.
dead? I don't know. I don't know shit.
Maybe, but it was, yeah,
You should
very.
ask
I
Steve.
just,
He knows a lot about the law.
oh God, you're gonna get us in trouble, man. I'll be getting
What with
messages
Steve?
in my DMs.
Well, I'm going to be in trouble with Steve. Oh no! Oh no! How will I manage?
I will pass along any messages to you, but I get it.
Should I expect a drone strike or Delta Force or what? You know,
I'm
or
not certain. I'm not
stern
entirely
words.
certain. Very strong talking to.
No, I mean,
So
truthfully, I have nothing against Steve or his beard or mustache. Nothing against them, and I wish him a long and happy marriage with Kyle. I think the full couple, and they should work on their differences and consider this a new start. And I think that's the best for everyone concerned, really.
yeah. Well, fair enough. I have some videos for you, Doc, on flat earthers. So I thought
Awesome.
I would let you pick. Somebody's
Mhm.
saying like lots of sexy things about Miss Piggy in the side chat.
Just have a bit of fucking respect. We were talking about Jim Henson and being dead, and you're sexing up a pig.
And
What kind
it's
of-
me, and
what
it's
kind of-
me, Doc. It's me.
Oh, well, that's all right then. Carry on.
Oh my goodness. All right. So, Doc, I have several different videos regarding flat
Yeah.
earthers.
Wasn't a
All right.
prominent flat earther caught and actually charged and convicted of sexually molesting his dogs? Was that? I think that was Mark Sargent. Is it? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to say that. I don't think it was him.
Oh
But
goodness.
there
Let me
was
see.
definitely one.
Okay, flat earther charged with sexual
It was a
conviction.
specific.
Oh my god. Now there's kitty fiddlers,
Now,
pedophiles.
now Doc is seriously frozen.
You're frozen. Refresh. I'm gonna hold his hand and take him somewhere to go and fix his
I'm
internet.
doing it. I'm doing it now.
Okay, I'm gonna fix your internet when I'm in town. It
Stop
helps
abusing
me
my
more than it
internet.
helps
There's
you.
nothing. Okay, I'm back. So did you find the dog? Did you find the dog fucker?
I didn't. I found 56 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor in June 2019.
Okay. I've got. Oh God, there are a lot of them actually. If you type this in, you get. Oh Jesus! My world just changed because. Oh no! Oh God! There's a lot.
So they like children and dogs. Some of them. Is it a large enough sample size? What sample size are we looking at?
Convicted sex offender under arrest of having. God. Oh God! This guy's a recidivist dog sex person. For God's sake.
Don't have sex
Yeah.
with your dog.
No, don't do that.
They can't consent. It's mostly a consent issue. I mean, just
And they
it's
can
a
bite
power
you.
thing.
And they can bite you really right.
Yeah,
Serious.
God.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it. Did I get it? Hang on.
Do you want to send it to Bull? Bull, can you send it to Bull on Facebook, maybe? Or you can put it in the chat here. Just click on the little when you go.
I don't know if I need to do that because if people want to have sex with animals, I don't do that. But I don't need. Let's not go that low.
No.
Okay, switching gears then. Michio Kaku. I'm certain you're familiar with Michio Kaku. He has
never known to have sex with dogs. Just to be clear,
he's not had sex with dogs. That I did do an episode of Spirited Science where I made a really nice cocktail in honor of him, where it involved whiskey and a nectarine. It was really quite nice. It was a good episode, by the way. Check it out. So Michio Kaku, he has his own particular ideas on why we have flat earthers and anti-vaxxers. I'd like to get your take if you're keen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fascinated by that.
Okay, so
and
let's have a look at
genuinely, genuinely not as just the subject to make fun of, but what do you believe and why you believe it, and the wackier your beliefs, the more interesting your reasons for believing it. So, dun, 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 drum roll. Bring on the morons.
Well, let's have a look at what Michio says is why we have flat earthers and anti-vaxxers. Well, if you can pull up that video.
We still have flat earthers. We have people that don't believe in vaccinations. And what do we do about it? Well, first of all, I think there's a gene. I think there's a gene for superstition. a gene for hearsay, a gene for magic, a gene for magical thinking. And I think that
Okay,
when
pause
we were
it
in
a
the
second.
forest, that gene actually...
Okay, Doc, do you think there's a gene for superstition?
No, I think he's using specific terms to describe a colloquial function of consciousness, which is a tendency towards inappropriate fear is almost always more beneficial than an absence of fear of any type or inappropriate fear. What does that mean? It means that your ancestors who thought there might be a tiger in the bushes and ran away survived. And sometimes they were wrong. But the ones who thought, nah, that's not a tiger, got it wrong once, and those genes are gone. So I think it's shades of the same thing. And
Let's have a
displacement
look.
behavior as well.
He gets into a bit of that with the evolutionary advantage of believing that
Yeah,
type
man.
of fear.
Yeah.
So let's have a
Anxiety
look at
saved us, a long time.
really helped
I
us.
hate mine.
Because 9 times out of 10, that gene was wrong. Superstition didn't work. But 1 time out of 10, it saved your butt. That's why the gene is still here. The gene for superstition and magic. Now, there's no gene for science. Science
Incidentally,
is based on things that are reproducible, testable. It's a long process, the scientific method. It's not...
Yeah. So the biological terms that he's using aren't really being used very well. So all respect to Professor Kaku. He's an astrophysicist, not a biologist. He's using terms like gene to describe trait, and they're not always the same thing, to be a nerd about.
No, they're not. You can have a myriad of different different genes that contribute to the expression of a particular trait. For instance, I'm not a very good basketball player for lots of different genetic reasons, but it's not exclusively to one gene. There isn't a science gene. There might be a particular natural tendency towards critical thinking, but that's one gene for one trait that was debunked a very long time ago. It's never just that.
Yep, absolutely. But in broad strokes, he's 100% bang on. So here's a thought that popped into my mind. I wish Michio Kaku had a role in Star Trek TNG. I think he would fit in beautifully there.
He would have, could you imagine if he was opposite Crusher, like Dr. Crusher sitting there, or at least in engineering was like one of the science officers. That would have been cool.
Nah, I think he'd be the therapist of the completely inept telepath. It's coming to me. I'm going to say something obvious.
Pick out Counselor Troy.
She was
awesome.
Her special powers were a bunch of crap. Like, Captain, you seem upset. Yeah, no shit. Klingons on the starboard bow. Oh, what a revelation. Anyway, I don't want to give her a hard time.
She's pretty. I don't know. I think a lot of people gave her a hard time for completely different reasons, but you'd have to like really dig down into the history of that to get that.
I'm not going there. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Okay,
so, yeah, let's go. Michio Kaku, bring it on.
Okay.
Part of our natural thinking. It's an acquired taste. It's like broccoli. You have to learn how the power can be unleashed by looking at your diet, for example. So I think 1,000 years from now, we will have flat earthers. 1,000 years from now, we will have people that still do not want to be vaccinated. Okay?
That's true.
So what do we do about it?
I believe that.
Well, it's a struggle. It's a struggle that's eternal. Because I think it's part of our genetic makeup. Okay? And there's even a name for some of the superstition is called pareidolia. What is
I know,
pareidolia?
yeah.
It's the
Finding
idea
patterns
that
in
when you
things.
look in the sky, you see things that are not there. Let's do an
Clustering
experiment.
illusion.
Look at the clouds and try not
That's a
to
bias.
see something there. It's very difficult.
Scientists have
You look
to
at the
fight that all
clouds,
the
you
time.
can't help it. You see Donald Duck, you see Mickey Mouse, you see snakes, animals, you see all sorts of stuff. You can't help it. Recently, the Notre Dame Cathedral partially burned down. And sure enough, somebody said, I see Jesus Christ there. I saw the
Yep,
picture.
right.
Maybe you did too. It really did look like Jesus Christ.
It's
But
because he
it
was there.
the
Everyone knows
ashes
that.
of Notre Dame. And how many times do people
Also,
see the
gold
Virgin
crosses
Mary
don't burn,
in
like they
a
don't like
glass
melt at that
of
particular
tea?
temperature.
So we are hardwired to see things that are not there, because for the most part, they're harmless.
Huh.
For the most part, they do nothing. And once in a while, they
Except
save
for
our
my
butt.
sleep paralysis.
And so
It's
that's
pretty
why I think we
awful.
will have flat earthers. We will have the people who don't like vaccination, because hearsay throughout human history was the dominant form of information sharing. You know, the internet is very new. Newspapers are very new. Science and technology is very new. But gossip, hearsay, slander,
Oh, God.
rumors,
Yeah.
there's a gene for that, okay? So how do you
think, well,
combat it? Slowly,
don't know.
carefully, painfully. It's a painful process, but in some sense, we're going up against our genetic predisposition to believe in nonsense.
Okay, I have some ideas here.
Yeah.
All right, what is gossip in all of this here? It's a way to bond with your particular tribe. That's really what that is. And there's
And
comfort in being part of the group.
but it always depends upon there being an out group as well. So it's a way to be in the in group, and you just keep doing that on the scale of a culture, like the US, for instance, and then you get fascism. Woohoo! We're all on
Isn't
this
that
group.
lovely? Us and them. I actually talked a bit about this on my channel a while ago about the science of flat earthers. And they're like, and I got a lot of feedback. There's no science behind flat earth. Immediately, I'm like, dude, I'm not talking about the science of flat earth. I'm talking about what's wrong with them. So it's just like it's a completely different thing. You know?
Yeah. Well, Mel, let me ask you a question. What is wrong with them? And please feel free, lay it out there.
Okay, it is my thought, particularly when you take into consideration conspiracy theorists. There's a lot of information available in science when it comes to those who believe in these types of conspiracy theorists. Anytime that there's an upheaval of, or like in government, or you have a huge shift in change that goes against somebody's particular perspectives, it starts to fire off that limbic system, the emotional side of the brain. And it takes more work from the rational side of the brain to go and kind of combat that. I talked about this past Saturday on my episode on fear. Fear is a thing, guys.
What effect have on someone's ability?
On someone's ability, you froze on me. So what I'll say is, if you allow your emotional brain, which is the brain, the monkey brain, the lizard brain that says, hey, the thing that's moving in the brush is a thing that will kill me. That's the innate response. You have to rely heavily on your rational brain to work through that and say, okay, that's not tall enough to be a lion. You know, the example that I gave was, if you hear a break in a twig, like if you're camping. I don't do camping. I've tried, and I've like been in a cabin and there was no lock on the door, and I'm preconditioned to think Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees is going to kill everybody. There's weirdos that are going to kill everyone. And so my brain, because it likes to find patterns in leaves in the window that's looking at me that looks like a face, but it's not. It's leaves at 3 a.m. That's pretty definitive for the rational mind that's tired. So when the emotional brain kind of takes over, yet your rational brain's like, but there's no lock on the door. This thing looks like a face. What if it's this over here? So,
can I chime in?
Sure, absolutely.
So a big part of my job and kind of my life is to take complex things and make them sort of simple, brief. And I'm going to do that right now. Shit. Some people are gullible. Some people are ignorant. And I don't mean that as a judgment. They have a limited amount of knowledge to draw on. And some people get off on being collectively afraid. If we can all be afraid together and we know the special secret, that means we're special people. No, it really doesn't. But that's the psychology we're dealing with. The special secret super club. We're special because we're denying reality. But reality doesn't factor into it because it's gone beyond that. The denial of things that are evident is key to the whole thing. And if you can get someone to buy that, well, you can sell them a hoodie, at least.
You know, I
Nathan
thought
Oakley,
about that.
talking to you, buddy. Yeah, bull-faced fraud out there every freaking day. Oh, there's no sign of curvature and the Coriolis, and oh, you moron! You're transparent to everyone with an IQ of over 80.
Oh my God.
And it's destroying the guy. I mean, that has to destroy you if you're not an amoral sociopath. And if you are, it's probably great work to have, but you know, it would be tough on me. Lying to morons every day, trying to sell them crap. Jesus.
So did you?
It's.
I got something to bring to this a little bit. It just happened between. You think Nathan Oakley's bad? Did you hear what FE Core and their whole thing was? That what they did to Slice Barkane's channel?
No, I don't know that story.
Slice Barkane. Do you know who Sean Hufford is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sean Hufford went and did a live stream from the headquarters, quote unquote, headquarters of FE Core. And found nothing but a church with no sign that FE Core had anything to do with the place anywhere on the building. So
and
they
just could you maybe explain? Sorry, maybe explain for the audience the who or what FE Core is.
FE Core.
I think it's relevant.
FE Core says it stands for Field Engineer Corps, but they misspell core as not, because if it was a corps of engineers, it would be spelled CORP. So they misspell core CORE, probably because there's already an FE Core with a P out there, right? So it gets even deeper. Their logo contains something like a flat Earth logo, basically. So it's basically they're trying to run experiments that prove the flat Earth, but they keep backfiring. So they
keep showing curvature.
Right. It's funny how that works out. It's funny how that works out.
Just hold the light up a bit higher. Oh, I can see it now. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Right. So then Slice Bargain mirrors Sean Hufford's live stream with Sean's permission. Okay, because they're friends. FE Core does some kind of strike. Like all these privacy and copyright violations on Slice Barkane's video, and gets his channel like kind of messed up there for a while. And come to find out, they're not really a 501c3. They haven't filed taxes in 2 years. All stuff that I should be able to find on them if they were a legitimate not-profit organization. So,
So if you're not a legitimate non-profit organization and you're accepting donations under the auspices of being that, that's kind of fraud, isn't it? I think that's kind of fraud.
I don't think there's a kinda about that. That's kind of what it is.
I'm being generous. I mean, I'm not in the US, and it's kind of fraud probably here. And if it isn't, it definitely should be.
Yeah. So,
Give me a bunch of money. I'm a charity.
Oh my god.
So, Sly got all these strikes on his channel from the board of directors. They said it was privacy for him to show their faces in his video, but he pulled their faces off their about page of their website. So anybody could literally go look their faces up and see the image that he was showing. It's not
dear.
It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, did they really think that would stand up anywhere? It's like,
I don't know what they were
Probably
thinking.
not, no.
I don't know what they were thinking. This is all preamble to what we have today.
yeah. And I think FE Core, based on that, are probably the smartest in that community, because I love watching the experiments that are either insufficiently powered to show dick all, or sufficiently powered to show Earth rotation and curvature and obstruction due to the horizon and the curve of the Earth.
You mean like
Or,
the laser gyroscope that they bought? That said
Oh,
going
yeah.
to show rotation 15 degrees an hour, but actually did.
It was lovely.
And then when when it did, it's like, oh well, that's interesting, basically.
Yeah, that was I believe Bob Noodle, who carefully demonstrated 15 degrees per hour rotation, which is exactly how fast the sun sets, by the way, even at the equator. So watch that and tell me 1,000 miles an hour looks fast, because that's what you're looking at. 15 degrees an hour, it's beautiful. You watch it for 3 or 4 hours on its way down. Tell me how fast that looks. You morons. Yeah, but Bob did a great job on that. And then watching him carefully try and disprove what he was seeing by doing all kinds of shielding to shield out the ETH. It's like, Bob, it's not going to do dick all, brother. No, it's really not going to work. If you turn the lights off in the machine, if you turn the machine off, it won't detect 15 degrees an hour drift. Other than that, it's going to do it.
I think probably now is a good time to do our latest sponsor bowl for our fake commercial. What do you think? You can't wait. This is our latest.
The vote for your
totally
bias.
That's the wrong one. That was.
You might have given me some warning. Okay. Holy God.
Let's do the new one. That was last week. Voting for your bias.
I swear
Dr.
I
am
this.
biased.
I swear I changed this, people. I swear.
You know, it's always a learning experience.
Audacity. This is episode 13, right?
Yes, this is episode 13.
And we're talking fake commercial. Now I see it. Apparently my...
Hello. Okay. This is the digital representation of ScientistMel. I got my hair did. Doesn't it look nice? So I'm going to take a moment to thank all of my patrons on patreon.com/ScientistMel. I also want to thank all of you who donate through Super Chats and those who help me with my GoFundMe to help me get my computer. I'm so excited and I'm able to do so many things for your help. So guess what? Here is a new commercial from our latest sponsor. Let's check it out. Yay!
Give Mel your money. All of it. All of it. Give it. Give it.
Are you worried about the government watching your every move through smartphone GPS signal? That's how they track us and watch us, you know. Do you need a way to navigate without being tracked by the government? Are you also tired of people calling you names for thinking the Earth is flat? Fear not!
Okay.
We are Flat Earth Mappers, here to help you navigate this globe without fear of government surveillance and using accurate Flat Earth maps. Our Flat Earth maps are 100% accurate and start at just $19.95. How do we know our maps are 100% accurate? We contrived them from already made up maps and tested them by gluing them onto a ball. Just call 555-FLAT in order to get connected with one of our service providers. Your map will arrive with your very own ball to glue the map onto. Make it a family fun project, taking our Flat Earth maps and gluing them onto the ball provided for accuracy. Our Flat Earth map globes come with their very own stand for easy car mounting. This ball can go anywhere with you and aid you in navigating your journey. It is also compatible with any vehicle and comes in several sizes for your convenience. Stop worrying about the government watching your every position. Turn off that GPS and let the Flat Earth Mappers help you with navigating you all over the globe. Satisfaction is guaranteed, and so is us affirming your confirmation bias. Call 555-FLAT today.
That was electrifying, and I think it deserves a little explanation. What do you think, Mel?
Sure, go for it.
I'm a bad person, just despicable. And this week I engaged with a flat earther as a sort of fidget spinner kind of level entertainment, and eventually, we went through a bunch of bullshit, and it got down to maps and the flat Earth map he would recommend for navigation, because I talked about flying from Johannesburg to Sydney and not remembering seeing the Alps or Russia, because Australia is sort of to the northeast of the USSR on the flat map. And he sent me a map, and it was great. So, when you peel an orange and you can't turn it into a square, it has to be in bits, so it's segmented. He sent me the segmented Earth map, and I went, well, is the Earth that shape? No, but it's totally accurate if you drape it over a ball. Yes, exactly what we're saying. It makes sense. Everything makes sense. But there's this disconnect, And I start with, okay, we can see it. Unless we're going space is fake. We can see it. We can measure it. We can watch it rotate. All of the things make sense with this being true. None of them make sense if it's a pancake. And it's a supermassive object in a universe with gravity. It has to be a spheroid. It doesn't have a choice. But then gravity's fake, space is fake, everything from space is fake, and anything that contradicts the bullshit is fake. And Jesus, it's painful. It really is. It makes sense though if you drape it over a ball. I mean, what do you do? What do you do with that? My bullshit really makes sense if it's completely bullshit. Yep. Then it's bullshit. Move on. Don't overthink it. Mel, what do you do with that?
I just sit there and go, oh, bless your heart. That's what we say in the South. Bless your heart.
You guys ever seen the movie by Disney, Bolt?
Bolt, yes.
Yes. So you've seen both. Let's put a pin in that. Put a pin in it.
So one time I was actually on a boat on a mirror calm fjord near Reykjavik in June, talking to a flat earther on YouTube with the sun never setting as it's whoosh, the sun just went to its lowest possible point and and it's back up and the angular size is the same. It's like you can't explain that, and it's really easy for me to explain it. But again, reality doesn't kick in, you know? Do you think it's a fundamental argument from incredulity? I don't understand it, therefore what I see is exactly how it is.
I think so. I think that's part of it. And also, they put more weight on what they see versus what could actually be biased in their own vision. So, pareidolia, like Michio Kaku mentioned, we, even as scientists, we look really hard to see patterns in things. So, we have to actually fight that particular thing. Like, I really want this data to work out and be completely fine. And this means the thing happened the way that I wanted it to. But that's why we have multiple instruments. That's why we have other eyes looking at our stuff. That's why we have peer review saying, but did you try this thing over here? Okay, let me try this thing over here. So because our brain can and does look for sense in everything, that's the thing that you have to go, okay, but what does the evidence say? So there is that strong tendency to want to believe what it is that our eyes presenting to us.
Can I'm going to actually bring a professional word into this, the concept of orthogonality. So a part of my job is to do sort of assessments of multiple things in medicine. And when you assess one thing, if you look at it one way, you'll get one set of data with the limitations of that data, and no analytical method is complete unto itself. So what you do is look at it in 6 or 7 different ways with different limitations, and you look at the area of crossover in that data. And if all of the methods with different limitations by different approaches give you the same or an overlapping data set, it's pretty confident that that's what's going on. Much like evolution, much like the Earth not being a pancake. Do you think your guy Jesus? Do you think your guy Jesus has a lot to do with flat Earth? Do you think there's an overlap there with the Jesus people and the flat Earth people?
I'm not certain. I think there may be individual groups that associate with some kind of religious Christianity background in the Earth being flat. But, that's not too much of a stretch for some of those groups who deny evolution in the age of the Earth and stuff. But and I don't mean that as an ugly thing to say.
I do.
I don't mean that as insults. See, we're the good cop, bad cop combo. That's
I mean, being uneducated isn't an issue. Well, it is an issue, but it's not something to blame people for. A whole bunch of my family weren't educated for a long, long time. Reality denying and being a moron willfully, that's a different thing. And in the 21st century, anyone who actually believes that the Earth is 6,000 years old is either a moron or they're being dishonest. And there's a cure for one of those, kind of halfway a cure. But most of them, there's not a great deal of honesty involved. I mean, if I want to be insulted and called a liar for no goddamn reason, I go right to the evangelicals because they're really fast to do that.
Oh, goodness. I don't, it's where I'm brought up. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion. That's just how we go with, growing up in the South. Although we flaunt our crazy on porches while we're drinking sweet tea, that seems completely fine. But we don't talk about religion or politics because it's just weird. It's a weird derivation of the English. It's
Yeah,
like
I
saying
mean,
that there are elephants in the room.
it's a lot the same in Scotland. I mean, we didn't really talk about religion very much, and back in Ireland beforehand, each other for being a different flavor of Christianity, because that always, that's always a good thing. Um, yeah, my hope for the
I don't
future
know.
is that we get over this, and religions can continue, but they'll become increasingly just a haven for the eccentric and morons. A lot like today, actually, but progressively. So there will be a small percentage of people who are still in that tribe, and we'll look at them, I guess, how we look at, I don't know, a small and somewhat bizarre religious sect, maybe the Hasidim. No offense to the Hasidim, they're friends of the show, but I think it will get more like that. I hope.
You know what? It would be really interesting if there was some way, because I know we've got chimps have entered the Stone Age at this point, where they are actually using tools. So we have chimps that have entered the Stone Age. We have
orangutans using saws and boat
yeah,
and cool things and washing their own socks. Orangutans in socks.
And you have old world monkeys in India that attack and actually plan. They actually plan raids, yes, on people like tourists driving through their particular jungle, or they'll go and attack a convenience store and steal food, to the point to where they have people with alpha monkeys that patrol different neighborhoods to get the old world monkeys from stealing from your house. What I would be curious to find out is it possible for us to find some way to study whether or not the old world monkeys, the chimps and the apes, like, with the great apes, with the orangutans, have their own religion? That would be interesting.
That's a really interesting concept. Because I mean, there's a lot of discussion about, at what point do we qualify as sentient, and a big correlate with that is creative or representative art and idol worship, I guess, in the original sense, animism. You can see how religions kicked in, and superhero worship as it turned into, Zeus and Thor, Jesus, and if we lived 2,000 years ago, there would be, good handful. But
maybe, can you imagine a gorilla religion? What would that look like?
Sure. Yeah, they're probably a lot like my ilk,
Yeah.
Sun worship always makes sense to me, It heats the planet and keeps us warm, and all the plants grow, and it goes away and it arrives, and that makes sense.
But you see to find food too.
Yeah, there you go. And going back to the first, or allegedly the first human city, quote unquote city, Çatalhöyük in northern Anatolia. Apparently, the people there were cattle worshippers, so they'd have the bull head on the wall, the stylized one, and it kind of makes sense because these animals were the staff of life for the people there. They actually, they herded. They didn't have agriculture, but they were ranchers virtually in terms of raising beef. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it really does.
Hey,
let's see.
All the Hindus, there's a lot of Hindus in the world. So if we're going by majority, back off the cows.
Back off the cows.
Cows are friends
So
of the
I have
show.
Friends of the show. Cows are friends of the show. So we have a few more things we can do. Are you up for a challenge, Doc?
Me? Yeah, I was born ready for a
Yeah.
challenge. What are we doing? Does it involve Gwyneth Paltrow sticking things up her vagina?
It does not. In this case,
Okay.
it's, Karen might be back soon. I don't know.
God, no.
We have to see.
Oh. Okay.
She sent me a video the other day of her like crying while she was drinking about how she messed up and she lost Bill from the Google AI and that she misses you.
Yeah, she misses what she never had, and no surprises about that breakup. Yeah, vodka and Valium generally don't go well together with a nice kind of balanced partnership. Oh, sorry, vodka, Valium, and being a whore. Yeah, that's the trifecta, really. Sorry, Karen. You have to fix at least one of those things. At least one. Just pick one.
At least one. She is a raging anti-vaxxer and a Gwyneth Paltrow fan. Particularly the necklace that was also a vibrator. She seemed to be on board for that.
The string of pearls that's actually anal beads.
In this particular one, you could plug in and charge through USB. So while you're at work, just plug it right in.
Stick to acting, Gwyneth. Read the things that other people want you to say. Don't say the things that come into your head.
Oh, my goodness.
You can play smart people goodly, but doesn't mean you is a smart person big goodly.
I'm pretty certain
Just
she
saying.
doesn't use her own products because there's no way she would. Nobody with any kind of sense on running a business would use their own products that are that level of
Not
ignorant.
to mention, she would probably be dead.
Yeah.
Probably.
And
Yeah.
she sells the Great American Challenge, the dildo that's bigger than my forearm, and that's quite a hefty forearm. Great American Challenge, straight from Gwyneth Paltrow's website.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Roswell has your challenge. You have to guess if it's an actual flat Earth experiment or not.
If it shows the curvature of the Earth, it probably is.
So let's do Roswell's challenge and give that
Hello.
Bring it on.
My name is
Hey, Roswell.
Roswell, and today we are talking about flat earthers. Isn't that interesting? They could just ask me on what particular shape the planet is. It's an oblate spheroid, but who the heck would bother to ask an alien who's from, outer space? You have perfectly good astronauts there. Anyway, how are you, Doc Savage? Are you ready for your challenge?
Yes, born ready. You're looking extra shiny this evening, Roswell.
Here's the challenge. I'm going to give you a list of different flat earth experiments, and you have to let me know if these are actual experiments that flat earthers use in order to determine that the earth is indeed flat when it's round, but still, whatever. Here is the first experiment. Are you ready?
Play along in the side chat for points.
The first experiment is this. Flat earthers think it's flat. The earth is flat with a dome over the top. So they try to replicate this by building this little flat, seemingly round, painted thing that looks like earth. And then they have this spinning moon and sun in the middle. And they use magnets. And they're like, boom, told ya, flat. Is this a real experiment?
Yep, 100%. It's been done at least a handful of times, sometimes better than others. It's always fascinating, and they never manage to explain, basically any naturally occurring phenomenon. But, 10 out of 10 for effort when they really get going on it. But it's a little bit sad.
I think we have a video on that. Give that a go, Bull. What have we got?
Yeah, it's like the science fair at the special school.
There you go.
There it is. Look
There's
at
a sun and a moon.
I'm convinced.
That's
that a
how the
cake?
Earth.
It's a record player. That's it.
Yeah, and he's got a magnet that shows up sometimes to get it
Oh,
spinning.
look at that.
You know,
Wow.
it's a lot
That's
of
exactly how it happens. So I guess eclipses can't happen at all, and yet they do.
my God. Yeah, he's a Star Wars fan, and I think that would probably be offensive to some people here.
Wait, he
If
just
you
had
like
it going
Star
backwards
Wars.
a second ago. He had it going the other way.
Oh, cool. He's probably one of the guys that, going back to Superman 1, the first Christopher Reeve, you know, he gets the world spinning backwards, and that makes time go backwards.
That
right?
explains how God stopped the sun in the sky.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah, giant.
Anyone in the audience? Okay. Yeah, the world, that's not really how it is. No.
It's cute though. It's like a cute little thing. But you're like, no. Okay. All right. Are we ready for the next Roswell challenge?
Here's the next experiment. Flat earthers sometimes like to use things in the kitchen to prove a point. So, in this experiment, they take aluminum foil and an egg, and they go outside on a hot day, and then they'll spread the aluminum foil out, they'll crack these eggs, fry them out in the sunshine, showing that it spreads out, making a flat, thickened surface, and not round. Therefore, the earth is flat. Is it real?
I've never seen that before. It wouldn't surprise me, but for the sake of variety, I'm going to say no, that's bogus. And please God, let it be bogus.
What's the reveal?
It's not, is it? It's real. That's a real thing. Oh, good. How did we survive? How did we get this far?
That's not it, Bull. Zoom out of that.
I know what's coming.
This is taboo conspiracy too.
This is not a real experiment, although now that I've spoken it, it'll probably happen into existence, and there will be a YouTube video going, "Told ya," says the alien.
I'm gonna do it.
You know, this is the plight of what I do here on this show. Anyway, on to the next experiment.
I have eggs and aluminum foil.
You know,
I'm going to prove that the Earth's flat, and then maybe have a delicious sandwich.
For this particular experiment, this individual made a video basically saying that Fox News confirmed the flat Earth from Michigan to Milwaukee based on a photograph. Now, this particular photograph shouldn't really have been possible, but it's likely a mirage. But this person did some calculations and said, no, indeed, the Earth is flat. So, is this a real experiment someone did?
Yeah, it really is. So, there are times of the day and in certain atmospheric conditions where you get a thing called atmospheric refraction. So you can see further than you would expect to see. And this is really, really, really well known and obvious and mundane if you're not a moron. Yeah. So this is real. And it's one of the canards that they keep coming up with. You shouldn't see that because it's too fun. No, we know why we can see the thing. We've known that for many hundreds of years.
I think there's a video about that. Faux news, they say in the chat. Fox News, please don't watch that for accurate information. We should do a whole episode just on how to get accurate information. I think maybe that should be.
No, I couldn't do it. It would be just too painful, man.
Bull, I think we have a video on this. Doc might be right. This might be an actual thing.
Yeah, this is a thing.
If you can pull it up. I believe it says.
Idiots with cameras. Idiots with
That's
cameras
not
by
it.
Bodies of Water.
Something else. I
Hello.
think you've gone out of order in
Hello,
your
everyone.
challenge.
This is Taboo Conspiracy
There you
2.
go.
I wanted to first thank Mike Bull for pointing this out.
Thanks,
This
Mike.
is a picture of Milwaukee all the way from Michigan. The photographer took the picture with only a Samsung Galaxy S7 using a 10-second exposure and ISO.
Rare phenomenon.
According to
Phenomenon.
Fox News,
Meaning,
it was a distance of roughly 85 miles.
It basically said it was a
However,
mirage.
I would say that the distance was probably around 80 miles as shown on this Google Earth
okay.
map.
Cool.
80
Great.
miles and a viewer height of roughly 20 feet gives us a target hidden height of a whopping 3,703 feet.
Okay.
But the tallest building in Milwaukee is only 601 feet. That means that the top of the tallest building in Milwaukee
Light
should be
refraction doesn't matter,
3,102
guys.
feet
We-
below the horizon.
I love they do
Does that
hypnosis
look like
with basic
that the top
arithmetic.
of the highest building in Milwaukee is 3,102 feet below the horizon? So,
No!
what is the nonsense explanation offered by the Ministry of Truth? Can you guess it?
Refraction
It's only a mirage.
and mirror. There you
For
go.
some reason, I think I've heard that one before.
For 500
Here's a view
years.
of Milwaukee for you. It comes from the other side of Lake Michigan. Now check out this picture. It's of the city lights that were taken last Thursday night in Muskegon, Michigan, some 70 miles away from Milwaukee. So why does Milwaukee look so close? Well, scientists have a name for it, but it's best explained as simply a mirage.
And what you're seeing here is a mirage.
That's right. We've known about this for a really, really, really long time. Happens over land too, and it can really freak you out if you're in the middle of the desert. Hello?
Where did Mel go?
I am back for a reason.
Oh,
I-
you disappeared on us, Mel.
I know. I don't know what happened. I think the flat earthers is a conspiracy to get me to stop saying things that are true.
They're all morons, sons of bitches. Yeah, so don't get spooked if you can see things further than you expect. What you should really try and do is when you watch a boat disappear from the bottom up, it's to about 4 kilometers away from you if you're at sea level, as they always and invariably do. Let it go right out of your sight, and then take the most powerful telescope that you have and try and zoom them back into your view, because they never ever work, and it always should work if the Earth's flat. What does that mean? What does that suggest? You know, a little nuanced thing. It's pretty freaking basic, isn't it?
It
Goes
is a
away.
bit, and it's weird.
Mm.
I think Roswell has another challenge. I think it's at 5436 in the file.
Okay, I'm excited. I like the alien. The alien's kind of nice.
He's not too mean. He's, not rapey at all.
For this
Like,
particular experiment, this individual made a video basically saying that Fox News confirmed
Oops.
you did a very
it's not
good
that one.
job, Doc.
Try to go
I'm really proud of you.
5435.
I understand you often talk to these individuals. Here's the next experiment. Flat earthers sometimes like to use things in the kitchen to prove a point.
It's
So,
not that one.
in this experiment, they take
5437.
aluminum foil and an
Okay.
Sorry.
You got me hopping a little.
Our
bit.
alien has Alzheimer's.
It's okay.
Like, which file?
Try 5437. Sorry. It's fine.
What a lovely
I
screenshot, though. Oh. What happened
Here's
to
the
your
next
eyes?
experiment. There are a couple of people who videoed this, and they had some cardboard that they like to poke holes through, and had them separated at about 17-foot intervals for a total of around 34 feet, I believe. And then they had another person trying to pick up the light on the other side, and if it was, curved, then they wouldn't see the light so much. So, is this a real experiment that they did in the backyard?
Yeah, they do this Tuesday. It's a derivation of the Bedford levels experiment. So basically, if you have perfectly level gaps going far enough with a straight thing shining through them, eventually it won't go through the gaps because, the Earth's curved. But let's see how they do it this time, or how they fuck it up this time.
This is a thing. This is I mislabeled that. It's my fault. It's 2. I am not infallible.
Incidentally, for the flat earthers, you can probably see I live in a roof space, so I've got a really, really high ceiling, and I can actually do a Foucault's pendulum in my house. And I really just set that up just to fuck with you all. Go, oh, look, the Earth's still rotating.
I think we have a video on that experiment, so let's have a look at that wonderful cardboard.
Oh yeah, Flat Earth glory hole video. Here we go.
Here we go. This comes from the
Idiot on a
Netflix film.
Oh, here we go. Glory hole. Make your own glory hole.
You're seeing
Is this how you do it?
This hole through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard.
It's
17
just,
feet off the Earth. The Earth is flat.
17
If
feet.
it's holding it up at 23 feet high,
because,
we're seeing the light.
that's
Well,
substantial.
That's it's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet.
This hurts
Okay, go ahead and
me.
drive down
You
there,
have
Enrique.
no idea
You're
how
gonna
much
hold the light
physical
there?
pain I went through
Enrique,
going
how
through
high?
this.
No,
trying to find
let's listen to
videos.
the idiot, because I've actually seen
you
this.
know, it's as, we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head.
Oh, and there it is.
Interesting there. That's interesting.
Oh,
What is
gosh.
that? So, Mel, for the audience, what does that result indicate to you?
This is nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, the fact that it actually proved that it was a curve, kind of interesting.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, at the most empirical level, if we assume that all the what have yous are in place, it shows that from the observer, 17 feet in height is not the same as 17 feet in height far away, meaning that the person with the other light far away is at a lower relative elevation because the Earth's a spheroid.
An oblate spheroid. I know. I don't deal with flat earthers. Often they come to me on the Twitter or YouTube. They're like, "Hey, I want to debate." I'm like, I literally send them a link on how to pick an appropriate psychologist to meet their individual needs and tell them I hope they get the help that they need. That's what I do.
I'm happy to. I'm delighted to debate them, provided we can debate a subject of my choosing as well, like the wetness of water. Let's start with that. Whether humans are animals, let's do these things first. We'll establish some ground rules. Water, generally wet. Humans, generally animals. Sun comes up one side, goes down the other side. Where is it going in between?
Oh my God. It's just...
They do not respond well to foundational questions, like most morons. Well, it's like Pac-Man or teleportation or some shit. No, it isn't. No, we can explain all of it.
I think Roswell has some closing messages for you, though.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Roswell might
Come on,
have
alien.
some messages for you.
You did a very good job, Doc. I'm really proud of you. I understand you often talk to these individuals who are these flat earthers. I'm curious as to why that is. I can't imagine that's riveting conversation, mostly out of the curiosity, perhaps, of those hairless apes that seem to think they don't live on a spinning rock orbiting the sun in an expanding universe. But hey, whatever.
Can I actually respond to that quite seriously?
Sure.
because there is a quite serious answer to that question. Why do I spend my limited amount of free time at times engaging with, well, the pet rocks of YouTube, as it were? There's a very good reason for it. One of my weaknesses is frustration tolerance. I'm not very good at it, and I'm working on it. So, by actually engaging in polite discourse with idiots, often belligerent, hateful idiots, but not always, but generally, in fact, exclusively idiots, it really helps to hone those skills that I'm trying to develop. So thank you, Flat Earthers. Thank you all.
Fair enough. I think Roswell has one more message, and then we can move on to other things.
It's been absolutely splendid being part of the Audacity family. I love it here. Doc, once again, thank you for that wonderful, wonderful whiskey you left out for me the other night. I understand ScientistMel is coming to visit. Might want to share a bit of that moonshine she gives you. It's out of sheer curiosity, and to be quite honest, you know, I've picked up people from Tennessee and they're never so kind as to leave me any. Anyway, bye!
Actually, Roswell just made a pun, actually, because a lot of flat earthers think that the moon actually shines like it's a light source. And one of them, a delightful guy, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, who seems like a genuine nice bloke, but he's totally out of his tree. The giants carved the moon out of the Grand Canyon, and it's full of helium. And that's why it floats. Because that all makes sense.
That guy is bonkers. Bonkers.
He's a thing last, and it was like a quick hello. It was clinging onto the mast with both hands. Oh, totally out of his tits. And there's something adorable about him, because I was asking him some kind of pointed questions, and he was just like, well, that's a really good question, and well, I don't know. It was like, avoid anything that indicates that the Earth isn't flat. But kudos to him, because, 3 sheets to the wind just didn't really sum it up. I think he was on the nod, actually. The helium in the moon.
I think there's other substances involved other than alcohol. I really do.
I don't know. He seems like a nice enough guy, for sure.
Well,
but
there's that silver crap that he keeps taking.
Oh God, the colloidal silver. He's going to end up looking like Papa Smurf.
Right, colloidal silver. He takes it. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. Okay, colloidal silver for the audience. If you have a topical abrasion, a minor cut, colloidal silver, great, no problem. Don't ingest it, because you'll turn blue like a Smurf, and it's really not good for you. And you'll look ridiculous for a long time. Colloidal silver doesn't do dick all.
Oh my god.
Public health warning. Yeah. I mean, God.
Oh goodness. I dare say I'm afraid to unleash you on the stupid things that are said.
Oh, bring on the stupid. We've been talking flat Earth.
Yeah, do you have the audacity? Well, we have the audacity.
My name is Gigi, man. You're going to jail. You got the audacity. My name is Gigi. You got the audacity. That's all I got to say. You got the audacity. I sold $3,000. You got the audacity. You got the audacity. Because you don't got no evidence. My name is Genie. My name is Genie.
That is still amazing.
G-Man.
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 I am talking to Monty and Hannibal about having them on the show again. So, and I'm doing a collab with them soon. So, just as an aside, I've known Monty for about 10 years, and he did my original logos for my science communicator work. So, shout out to to Monty. So I check out their channel. They're the ones who did the Audacity originally. So let's have a look at this stellar human being. Sorry, did you have
Hannibal and Monty, friends of the show, friends of the show, and Hannibal, your elephant thing was just, I mean, kudos, man. It was a thing of beauty. Monty, that whole thing in the desert, awesome, great. Keep doing what you're doing.
They're great. I adore them both. So Rudy Richards, he had a lot to say because I actually posted on Prison Planet. If you're not familiar with that person, go check out their Twitter. They're very, very, I don't know, right-wing, hyper alt-right kind of borderline Milo Yiannopoulos type of individual. MRI, MRA, men's rights activist type of person. That's okay.
Mel, you're poisoning the well. You're framing this guy up as an incel douchebag, and he may have a very valid scientific point.
He might. Go and research Prison Planet yourself on Twitter, guys, and let me know what you think. I am very open to diversified perspectives, and I will always ask for evidence, just like I provide that in like. So what I find particularly interesting is YouTube and Google and various different platforms are now censoring. It's a form of censorship, I suppose. But what they're saying is anytime somebody posts a video about anti-vaxxers or something that says climate change isn't real, et cetera, something inherently racist, Google will put a little link to find out what the actual science is associated with that. So I, of course, being a person who actually prides myself on integrity, I say, hey guys, this isn't really a bad thing. They're not really censoring this person. They're saying here's other conflicting sources that are well established within various communities as being, I don't know, true.
No, Mel, you're making a big mistake because dissent, that is verboten. Verboten. That's the thing. You shall not dissent. Believe my bullshit and buy my hoodies.
Why not? That's, I'm not very good with that. So this person, Rudy Richards.
Let's see what this asshole has to say.
He says, what adds to the trend of your scientific literacy is your joke of a podcast, Mel. So glyphosate doesn't cause cancer and a vaccine never killed anyone. Sounds more like scientific fraud.
Let's dissect this piece of shit, shall we?
Sure.
Pull
us back, Bull. What do we got to say about this particular uninformed tweet? Wait till you get to Bill Nye. It's great.
Okay. I don't know about the carcinogenesis of glyphosate. It's certainly not something you want to be consuming on the reg. But nobody legitimate has said that the administration of a vaccine has never killed anybody, because it has. And we really, really try hard to not do that. But unfortunately, sometimes it happens. Very, very, very rarely. So, yeah, it's at least the straw man and doesn't really have a credibility at this stage. So, what did Ass White number 2 come up with?
Well, let's see what the next thing he had to say was. Bull.
Here we go.
Okay, so here, and he goes, in regards to the show I listened to about vaccines, was not accurate. Okay, was not. I mispronounce. Whatever. I have typos. Was not accurate information either.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So what's the like? Nothing. It's pathetic. Bill Nye is a fraud too, actually. He's got an agenda and not a real scientist at all. And other people are like, well, what was not accurate about the information? And also, how is Bill Nye not a scientist? Well, he's an engineer. But if you look at the coursework associated with Cornell University, it's a huge amount of science and math. You can't just say, hey, I'm an engineer and I don't know anything about science.
I mean, this is the ad hominem attached to the ignorance fallacy or the reality denial. Get over it. Bill Nye's an engineer. Engineers are scientists. Bill Nye's a scientist. By definition, fuck off. Sorry, I mean, deny it all you like. Reality doesn't care about your incredulity. And he also seems like a pretty nice guy, to be honest.
Yeah. Bill Nye sometimes, recently he came out with a video with him swearing because he's so mad about climate change and the planet and people not listening. I'm like, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I completely get that. Let's see what this wonderful human being has to say. So this was my response with this particular thing. So Bill Nye has an agenda. So I kind of wanted to break down a bit of what that agenda was. So pull that tweet up, Bull. If you have he has an agenda.
Super genius. Evil genius.
He's trying really hard to get people to care about the planet and think critically. Oh my God. Can you believe this? What will we do if he wins, Doc? What if Bill Nye
wins? What a scumbag, eh? He's evil.
Oh my God.
Evil man. Yeah.
What if we care about the planet and we start thinking critically?
I mean, Bill Nye's like Mr. Rogers, right? I mean, they're equivalent in terms of sort of niceness.
Almost. Mr. Rogers is borderline sainthood in this country, Doc, for real. I have his book right here, man. I could
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's and to be fair, Mr. Rogers was actually a Christian.
Yeah.
He actually was a Christian.
Not all Christians are insane scumbags.
Fair enough. But he never emoted that or pushed any kind of religious narrative in his work. So, but Mr. Rogers is a saint in my head, and it's really hard for that to kind of separate between the two. And
Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers, not a scientist. Bill Nye, scientist.
Not. Yes, absolutely correct. Bill Nye is a scientist. Mr. Rogers is more about early childhood education, which is different. So Bill Nye is more about critical thinking.
Yeah, and plotting to take over the whole world, which is a well-known thing.
I do have Pinky and the Brain things around here. It's like, Brain, Pinky, are you thinking what I'm thinking? No. I don't know, Brain. Where can we find rubber pants this time of night?
There's a new religion, getting off the uncomfortable underwear subject. New religion, nihilism, and it's like nihilism a little bit. So we're anticipating Bill Nye taking over the planet in the Nye-apocalypse. So it's coming up probably next Tuesday.
Completely fine.
Nye-apocalypse 2020.
Here is a picture from a vaccine group that I'm a part of. Vaccine Education Network.
Oh, what have we got?
This says, I feel this way about most things doctors say these days. I recently got some magnesium oil from a local doctor, and she posted something about elderberry over flu shots. Instantly just got a wee bit cooler in my eyes. Not that cool points matter. Just to see doctors nonchalantly share stuff like that. And so there's a picture here, and it says, doctors, don't worry, the x-ray won't harm you. Also, doctors, they're hiding behind a screen. Oh my God. Yeah. This makes me so nuts. because small amounts of X-ray don't do a thing really to a person. Your risk is exceedingly low. But a person who administers X-rays all day, I don't know, Rosalind Franklin, one who helped discover the helical structure of DNA.
Totally dead.
Totally dead from cancer because she did not take the precautions associated with that, because she was exposed to X-rays every single day. You guys are not going to be exposed to X-rays every single day like doctors.
Yeah, and the whole thing with the flu vaccine, it's an unfortunate example because the flu vaccine by definition is never going to be 100% perfect or close to it, but it's a hell of a lot better than flu. And everyone should get it. I get it because I interact with children and elderly people, and flu for me would be an inconvenient misery, and for them it would kill them, as it has done periodically throughout history. So, yeah, this is really, really bad advice based on a whole bunch of bullshit.
I have a video for you, Doc, about sperm being super armored.
Oh, a sperm video. Great. We're totally demonetized now after the flat earth glory holes. Here we go.
Oh my goodness. So this is the miracle of man's creation. I can't speak anymore. I can't deal with people. Creation. So this is, I think it's Harun oh God. Peter.
Remember,
Peter.
every sperm is sacred.
The function of which is to convey the genetic data of the male to the egg cell in the woman's body. When it is examined closely, sperm looks just like a machine specially designed to carry this load.
Can you hear it now?
The front of the sperm is covered with armor. There is another layer of armor under the first, and under the second layer lies the cargo carried by the sperm. In this cargo, there are 23 chromosomes belonging to the male.
23 chromosomes.
All the information
are coming for your
the human
eggs.
Body, right down to the finest detail, is carried inside the chromosomes. In order for a new human being to emerge, the 23 chromosomes in the sperm have to unite with the 23 chromosomes inside the mother's egg cell.
Now, I want to know, what is the metal made of for the armor?
In this way, the first foundation of a person's 46 chromosomes will be laid.
Here we go.
The armor system at the head of the sperm will protect this valuable cargo from all danger right through its journey.
It's like,
this is cool.
But the design in sperm is not limited to this.
Can it get any
here we go.
There is a very powerful engine in the middle of the sperm.
He's going to get to Jesus in a minute.
The end of the engine is connected to the tail of the
It's
sperm.
actually Muslims, so probably not.
The power produced by the engine turns the tail like a propeller and enables the sperm to move swiftly.
Right.
Since there is an engine in the middle, it will need fuel to make it work. This need has been thought of, and the most productive fuel for the engine, fructose, has been placed in the liquid surrounding the sperm.
Okay. That's very sweet, so that's nice.
In this
Then why is it radiation?
Is provided
radioactive
throughout the
fructose?
journey it will undertake.
It's a little alarming.
Last I checked, fructose is not radioactive, but okay.
Look at them go. Run, Forrest.
It's like a race. Which one's going to win, do you think?
Go on, sneakies.
Thanks to this
Go for it.
perfect design,
Go on, lads.
sperms head rapidly straight for the egg cell.
I'm very disappointed they didn't put the CGI in for the armor on every single one of
here we go.
When the length of the sperm and the distance traveled are considered, it emerges that
This
this
is very
is
exciting music, though.
as fast
Look
as
at
a
that.
speedboat.
It's as fast as a steamboat. I kind of question that a little
The
bit.
production of these miraculous engines
I'm feeling
is
kind of
carried out in the
proud.
most expert manner. Inside each of the testicles, the sperm production centers, there are
If you're
microscopic
particularly
tubes
excited to
of a
be with a
total
person,
distance
I imagine
around
maybe it
500
can
meters
go
long.
as fast as a steamboat or like a.
He just said your testicles unwind to 500 meters
The
long.
production inside these tiny tubes works just like the conveyor belt assembly system inside a modern factory.
Does it though?
Kind
The
of.
sperm's armor, engine, and tail parts are assembled onto
Here
one
comes
another
the
in
sperm
turn.
with the chromosome.
No, it's not
What
exactly
emerges
like
as a
that,
result
but
is a real wonder of
stylized. Okay.
engineering. We have to think a little in the
Sure.
face of this reality.
We have to
How do
think
these
a little.
unconscious cells
Here we go.
know how to prepare
Here
the
we go.
sperms in the appropriate form, despite the fact that they know nothing about the mother's body?
Right. I knew it.
How have they
Knew
learned to
it.
make the armor, engine, and tail
Learn.
that the sperm will need in the mother's body? With what
Oh,
intelligence
God.
do they assemble these components in the correct order? How do they know that the
No.
sperm will
There
need
it is.
fructose?
There they had me.
How have they learned to build an engine that runs on fructose?
Oh God.
If you find a watch, and
There is but one answer to all of these questions. The
Let me
sperms
guess.
and the seminal fluid that they are placed in were specifically created by God for the continuation of the human race.
Yep, there it is.
You know.
Pusule gelmiş olması gerekir.
Ah.
Böyle bir düşünürseniz.
Former
Sperm hücreleri
head.
baba organizmasında yapılmaktadır.
Yeah.
Görevleri
They
ise
booted his
anne
ass out when he went
organizmasında
nuts.
pusule gelmektedir. Ve
Oh God.
dünya
Okay.
kurulalı beri
Let's pull
yani
back from
insanlık
this talk a bit. Fructose, for those of you who are watching, are the sweetest sugar. So at least there's that.
Yeah. So, motile germ cells, very primitive organisms tend to just copy themselves. You know, it's kind of easy. And when you get a little bit more complex, the sex cells are the same, the male and females. The concept doesn't really happen. Genetic recombination happens. But eventually you get up to things like sponges and some of the soft-bodied creatures. And they make a sperm cell or make a sex cell that's a lot like a sperm, and it swims away to a new environment to spread the genes, you know. So this is something that animals or proto have been doing for about 2.5 billion years. So Jesus wasn't involved in it. Sorry.
You know, it's interesting because they sit here and they go through this painstaking detail about this super armored, plated, and I'm just like, did somebody who run D&D campaigns consult with Harum Yahya? Because that's who this is. He's kind of like the Muslim version of Kent Hovind. Come to find out. Unless like almost kind of.
I'm going to break it right down to the nuts and bolts again, right? Here it is. It's nifty. I don't understand it. Therefore, God. It's nifty, therefore God. Oxidative phosphorylation is complex. There's like 12 different enzymes involved and lots of different chemical structures. I don't understand it. God. No. Magic has never been shown to be the right answer for anything. Except
you know, I
what you
could
see at a magic show.
It's almost like when I see a graphic like that where there's like this super armored thing and all of these sperm are coming at the egg. And those of you who play Dungeons and Dragons at that point, I wanted to be like, okay, roll initiative. So it's just like, let's roll initiative. Okay, where's my tank at? We're about to do battle with some super armored sperm that are coming at us. There's about 100 of them minimum 100, probably more than that, depending on age.
Gentlemen, your sperm aren't armored.
Speaking of age, I'm about to show mine. Why did all of a sudden Woody Allen's Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Sex pop into my head?
I'm just like,
because they have sperm guys
going up this ladder, and the anxious one is the one that holds the orgasm back. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Alan. Dear God, another person I can't appreciate anymore because of his kiddie fiddling.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Like, it's kind of like the same thing with Bill Cosby. Like, how could you respect him? You can't really look at anything he's done the same way.
It's how I feel about Michael Jackson.
Cosby, I just think is just so much worse. But, you know, once you step over that line, you're pretty much off my love list. But Cosby, everyone's favorite rapist. Hey.
Even
it was a different time. Culture was very different back then.
But it's like I have a really hard time enjoying Michael Jackson music, and I grew up loving Michael Jackson. So it's like,
yeah,
God!
And he wasn't even found guilty. Like, people that were, right?
I know he wasn't found guilty, but man, the testimony they threw out about him asking for Vaseline with the boys in his room, I'm like, I just can't, man. I just can't. I'm like, oh my God. I have a very difficult time processing any of that. So it's very difficult for me to enjoy Michael Jackson music now. It's ruined. And I can do the Thriller dance all the way through and everything. Thank you.
Oh God, really?
I can. All the way through. I'm totally saved because if there's a zombie apocalypse, I can do the Thriller dance and everybody else is dead unless you can do that.
Right. Yeah, because that's how that works.
I know, right? That's exactly true. It's 100% accurate. So saith we all.
Well, you know, Woody Allen, at least he married her, right? I mean, his own kid, didn't he? Or was not actually his own kid. He just raised her like she was his own kid.
I was gonna say Mia Farrow was more of stepdaughter-ish role.
Even when
the whole thing.
You look at Gann. Okay, so it's like with the Impressionists, when you look at the different Impressionists in artistic works, and you compare, like, okay, Van Gogh hung out with Gauguin or whatever, and you're like, Gauguin went to a literal island where he could have sex with children, and you're like, oh my God, it's like, here he is painting pictures of prepubescent children that are naked, and you're like, oh my God, you're just, it's hard. It's hard to say, okay, this is art.
You can, yeah.
You know, but who was
Michelangelo? Michelangelo had his own glory hole. It was terrible. I mean, he was renowned for it in the Vatican, no less, but still a fine artist.
Really good at what they do, but gosh, they did horrible things. So it's really hard to kind of navigate that sometimes, you know?
Yeah. I feel the same way about despots, you know? Joseph Stalin, terrible, terrible human being, charming dinner guest.
Well, we should write a book sometime, Doc. We should write a book sometime based on these particular perspectives.
I would definitely consider that, but the time is going and I'm about to fall asleep, I'm afraid. Sorry, audience. 1 minute past midnight.
He turns into a pumpkin. This is what happens. So, any last thoughts, Doc, before we sign off?
Yeah, the Earth isn't flat, and if you believe the Earth's flat, you're either an idiot, or you need to read a little bit more, or you're trying to profit from morons.
Fair enough. No shows at all next weekend because I will be hanging with the incomparable Doc Savage over here. We will be filming things like the Ark and the Natural History Museum and stuff. So
cheese. Lots of cheese.
Lots of cheese. So thank you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Any last thoughts, Bull, before we go?
No new thoughts for this week, other than I picked up Pimp Show, if you didn't know, and so I'm doing that every morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. So there you go.
Everyone should watch that and subscribe and like, because it's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It's crass. It's great. I love it.
And thanks for the subscriptions that have happened during this episode. And we will see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you guys so much. Sending squishy science hugs. Bye. I absolutely adore Doc.
Because I have testicles for some reason.